Hello TYM, this is J360 coming at you with a Cyber Sub-Zero video. This time around, since I don't know why I haven't done this already, or really anyone other than our very own gracious pig of the hut, I decided to make a video guide for Cyber Sub-Zero, and this is going to be my shot at it. I'm going to go over a couple of things in this video. You know, his normals, some of his combos, and the ever so infamous inconsistent bomb rules, which I kind of figured out a couple of things about them today that I actually think I do have it figured out now, 100% of the way. So, yeah, I mean, first, what I want to do is go over Cyber Sub-Zero's normals. He has a wide range of normals that are all pretty good, but nothing is faster really than his either 6-frame down 3 or 9-frame standing 1. Everything else is 10 frames and up. First, I'd like to start with his very basic rush. Well, his pressure tool would be 2-1. 2-1 is really good. It has a startup of, let's say, about like 15 frames. Yeah, it's 15 frames. And it's 0 on block. So is 2-1 on block. It's also 0. And the end of the string, 2-1-1 plus 2, on block is +1. So that gives him, it's probably one of his better strings. One thing is that in between the 2-1-1 plus 2, he can be interrupted. Don't think that he can't. But it has to be by a very, very well-timed armor move. It's damn near impossible to time right unless you're used to being in it. I had the chance to play Dizzy as of recent, and Dizzy was EX nut punching through that almost all the time, but he's Dizzy, so anyway, he also has 1-1-2, which is a string that hits completely high. Just to show you, everything whiffs except for the last hit. 2-1-1 plus 2 is mid, so that's really the reason why it's such a good pressure tool. He has 3-3-2, which is also 0 on block, and can be interrupted in between 3-3-2. Same thing for 1-1-2, I forgot to mention. Anything before a sword can be interrupted right before the sword with an armor move. But like I said, it is hard. He also has 3-4, which cannot be interrupted, but is a very good, very, very good move to mix in with this 3-3-2, of course. And like I said, everything is 0 on block except for 2-1-1 plus 2, which is +1 on block. Keep that in mind. Standing 4 is really slow. Really has no use. It's sometimes, honestly, it just comes out by accident and it looks like people mean it. But it does create a good amount of space between you and somebody to do a perfect dive kick, as to where you cannot be punished. But I'll go over the dive kicks in a bit. His back 2 is very good. It's fast advancing, and I believe is 16 frames, which is really only 1 frame more than standing 2, but it's good when you want to get right back in someone's face. Let me check the frame data for back 2. Back 2 is also 0 on block, as well as back 2 too. I would always suggest really going for both back 2-2 because it creates a good amount of space and gives you the opportunity to try to use your 6-frame down 3 as a kind of poking tool. If not here, if you're pressed back 2 right here in front of somebody, you try to go for a down 3, who knows, they might hit you with a really cheap down 1, which is 6 frames, which a lot of characters in this game have, or another move that's faster. So yeah, back 2-2 creates a good amount of space for a lot of things. Sometimes you can throw out a surprise bomb and, you know, do your thing with that. But another really good string is forward 2-2-1. This string, forward 2-2-1, is 0 on block the entire way. Forward 2 is 0, forward 2-2 is 0, forward 2-2-1 is 0. Ideally, forward 2-2-1 all the way is good because once again it sets up for a good dive kick. You want to really get the strings that set up for really well placed dive kicks. 2-1-1+2 sets up for a close dive kick. Back 2-2 sets up for another good close dive kick. Even though sometimes it may whiff, but either way it's much safer than doing a far dive kick from this range. Forward 2-2-1 sets up for a far dive kick, as you can see. And 1-1-2 sets up for no dive kick. I really wouldn't recommend it at that point. 3-4 sets up, close dive kick. If you do it a little later, it'll definitely hit. But all of his strings are mainly 0 on block, and they're all very, very good to set up for something else. I mean, since it's 0, you're playing the neutral game. Cyber Sub-Zero you have to be very good at a neutral game to want to even attempt to play Sub-Zero, because you have to pretty much anticipate and try to beat everyone to the punch after everything you do. Everything, that is, with the exception of back 1. Once you do back 1, it leaves you at +4. Let me show you. Well, let me actually let him block it first. Oh, forgot to put that on. Don't mind me, I'm not used to this. Let me see. See, it gives you very, very little advantage. But the cool thing about it is that since it does leave you at +4, your 9 frame standing 1 becomes 5 frames on block, so they cannot interrupt it. Same thing with your down 3. Down 3 becomes 2 frames, etc. Anything -4. Anything that you have -4. So this becomes 11, and so forth. As far as his moves I wouldn't recommend using, which so far I just went over the ones that you should. Moves like up 4, which take a ridiculous amount of time to start up in the first place. 23 frames. I really wouldn't recommend, because it can be punished pretty much by a lot. Up 4 on block is -45. So, you know what that means. Everything's going to blow you up. Everything. There's, God knows, everything can do it. And you're -45 as well. Actually, I think even more on whiff. But I really, really wouldn't recommend using it. And you don't really save yourself much by doing this into bomb, because bomb is 45 frames. Once you do this, you cancel out. It's just you're gonna get hit. You're gonna get hit. There's if somebody really scouts it out, they can hit you. You're lucky if they don't. Another move, forward 1, is pretty good. It's fast advancing, but the main reason I don't use it is, honestly, you can go for it. Well, you can go for it. You can get it. It's a mid, but it really leaves Cyber Sub-Zero at a range where on block isn't favorable. There's anything that leaves you way too close to not do a dive kick, like this. This is good because, you can follow up with a down 3, but to do this is really hard because, let me see what forward 1 is. Yeah. Forward 1 on block is +5. No, that's hit advantage. Yeah, like I thought. Forward 1 on block is -5. So if you want to do forward 1, be my guest, but you're going to get blown up. Well, not blown up, you're going to get put into some pretty bad situation against, let's say, a Johnny Cage or something like that. If you do forward 1, you're only saving grace, honestly, to beat a 1 frame. I mean, yeah, pretty much a 1 frame move is your 1 frame parry. So if you're fighting somebody, I guess you can use this as bait sometimes to try to make them attack, but you have to be right on the frame to really get somebody. Unless you cancel. But either way, it's not good because it can turn the tides of pressure towards Cyber Sub-Zero, which really isn't that bad, but you want to be the one making the other person guess the entire time. There's also, well, the continuation of that whiff, so I don't even want to go over that. But there's also back 3. Back 3 is Cyber Sub-Zero's only really true low, other than a sweep, which is universal. Back 3 is 26 frames. It takes way too long to come out. It's really easy to block. To be honest with you, there's no reason for you not to block low on Cyber Sub-Zero unless you're going to try to fuzzy guard after his standing 3, which sets up for the mix-up of standing 3-4 or standing 3-3. So, for the most part, this, honestly, really won't be too good. I mean, you can always catch someone by surprise. Take my word for it. I use it. I do use it sometimes, but it's not necessarily... I wouldn't recommend it as a tool to use for opening someone up. Once you play somebody who knows how to fight against Cyber Sub-Zero, the back 3 should never work. But things like that work on anyone at any given time. So, forget I even said that. Back 3 is -2 frames. Once again, it leaves you very close in an unfavorable situation for Cyber Sub-Zero. As always, you kind of want to be at least close dive kick away, right here, or just a little farther, because pretty much everything else you do can hit, can advance. You know, you can protect yourself much better. Yeah, as far as his normals, that's pretty much it. This you don't even want to do. You're full combo punishable. Yeah, so as far as his normals, that's the good part. Now, another thing I want to get into now is Cyber Sub-Zero's dive kicks. I went over the normals. Dive kicks count as a special, so we can go over all the specials, I guess. But dive kicks is really what I want to get into in this section. First, let me just go over his really slow ice bomb. It's really shitty against a lot of characters that can punish full screen with armor, or with like Sector can instant tele uppercut, and anybody with a teleport can really blow this up once they see him just throw his hands behind his back. It's really, really slow. To be honest, it's really not worth it, because the startup of an ice ball is 28 frames. It's really no different than you doing this. So, I mean, you're not minus 45, but the startup, the entire duration of it is 28 frames. But it's really, I wouldn't use it unless you're fighting a character that has to put up with the type of stuff the Cyber Sub-Zero can throw out, like Shang Tsung. Has to respect this at times. That's really one of the only characters I can think about. Or Baraka, you know, stuff like that. But that's something you'll figure out on your own. Ice Ball is a good anti-air sometimes, I'm not going to lie. When somebody's jumping in, even though it's 28 frames, and you have to anticipate it very, very, very far ahead of time, it works. Some people tend to use it, but for the most part, I wouldn't recommend it, because you can get blown up. It's really not good, especially when you miss time and you throw it under them and they jump over it and just blow you up for it. Ice Ball, I would recommend doing in conjunction with bombs, because they have to respect the bomb to not move forward into this space, you know, giving you an opportunity to throw an ice bomb out. But once again, if a character has good projectiles or teleports, don't use it. Speaking of teleports, here, welcome to the worst teleport in the game. This teleport is really bad. It looks cool, but to be honest with you, I would only use it when comboing someone and I have to get to them. Or let's say I land an ice ball from over here. It's ideal to get in on them like that. But I would not recommend using the teleport outside of any of that, because First off, unlike Cyrax, he has no invincibility when he starts it up. Towards the beginning or towards the end. There's no invincibility at any point of this teleport. Plus, its cooldown time, you have to take, well, you can time it by just taking a step back, but there's cooldown to this teleport unlike Cyrax's. Cyrax's may be minimal, but his is just really bad. I mean, it's punishable at both parts. Even after he teleports, let's say right here, where there's nothing, you see nothing there, he can get hit up there, or he can get hit behind you. In either two of the spots, he can get hit. Cyber Sub is on screen at both parts at the same time, and can get blown up at both parts. So you can just, honestly, just throw a projectile and swing away, and you can hit it. I mean, the recovery does look kind of fast, but it's not. It's just as bad. He materializes a little bit later, but once he materializes, he's safe. But if you just start hitting thin air, he's going to get hurt. Which is the sucky part about Cyber Sub. I wish he had a better teleport, but there are times you can use it offensively if you like. When you want to mix somebody up and make them, you know, change their directions, or try to mess up their wake up. But chances are, if they do their wake up in the other direction, they're going to blow you up. So I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, there is the up forward teleport cancel, but I'm not the biggest fan of that. Off of an ice ball, people like doing it as a sort of reset, but you're letting go of damage and you're not really gaining much off of it. You're letting go of damage, and you're giving them a chance to block your mix up. So I would always recommend just going for regular bread and butter. But anyway, then there are the bombs. The bombs I'm gonna save for the last part. So I don't know why I keep bringing them up. I should just wait. But anyway, parry, ice parry, 1 frame activation. This is one of the best moves in the game to stop the offense. The best thing about his ice parry is the fact that it really slows down certain characters' momentums, like Johnny Cage or Scarlet, as to where they have to respect it and they have to really kind of just go for a low instead of continuing the barrage or wait and try to bait it out. Basically what you're doing is you're making them guess in their offense, which is what makes Cyber Sub different from every other character in the game. Is that this stops people from trying to hit it. I mean, you may get 8% or you may get a full combo with the EX. Either way, it's something that slows momentum down and actually makes his defense a guessing game. Which, to be honest, is really annoying to fight. Because, let's say you're Johnny Cage and you're doing forward through 3, forward through 3, forward through 3, and you're trying, you know, most characters don't have an answer for that other than armor. You try to do that against Cyber Sub-Zero, he's going to ice parry you. Or EX ice parry you for full combo with a good read. But that's when you're going to have to start trying to go for down fours to keep him in place, because if he gets down forward, he can't ice parry pressure. But that's where the mix-up comes into play, the defensive mix-up. If you go for a down 4 and Cyber Sub reads it, instead of doing a parry, blocks, that backdashes, he gets out. That's how it works. You know, he breaks momentum. That's a very good thing that Cyber has. Now, baiting this out, this is very hard to punish. You have to punish it right when his ice is going away. I believe the duration of it should, let me see. Yeah, it should be, where can I find this? Yeah, there we go. The duration of the ice parry is 52 frames. It's active for close to almost the entire thing. It's really only inactive for maybe like 9-10 frames, which is really hard to punish. Maybe even less than that, to be honest with you. He can do them back to back. There's no cooldown to them. So if you're trying to punish him, you better do it right. If not, you're gonna probably eat another one of these. A lot of Cyber Subs like to do double parry, which, to be honest with you, is actually pretty good. Unless you have somebody who has low combo starters or, you know, can abuse lows on it. EX parry is very good because if you do the same read for this, instead of getting 8%, you get a full combo of choice. Now, aside from that, I want to get into his slide. His slide sucks. It's good on hit, of course, as all moves are, but on block, sadly, it's even worse than Sub-Zero's. Well, if I do this, I'm getting blown up by combo of whatever choice, whatever you want to do to me is going to happen. There's nothing I can do about it. Slide, but the good thing is that slide is best used in combo, because on block, slide, nobody wants to have a move that's minus 49. No one. And that's what you have. Anything that you have that's 49 frames or faster will destroy me, especially if it hits mid. But the best thing about it is that mid combo, his slide is untechable. It really gives you great pressure after it. I mean, that's the best thing about it, to be honest. Let's see. Let's take a look at this. If I go ahead and I do an up 4 slide, I can go in for pressure. Let me make sure they're not ducking. Yeah, you can't roll it. You cannot roll it. It's untechable. So that's the best thing about it, is that it puts a character in a position where they're gonna have to guess, and you get a deep jumping kick right after it. If they decide to try to roll, to try to get up and block, you get a deep jumping kick. Deep jumping kicks are like 13 frames and up, but on block. Now, finally, I want to get into his bombs. His bombs have been very inconsistent because, to be honest with you, we haven't had a good set of bomb rules. And it's been kind of ambiguous. You really never know when the bomb's going to freeze. Like here, you would expect it to freeze, as opposed to this one where, look, I hit him with the same thing. It freezes, right? Well, I'm going to lay down the bomb rules as they are. First, any bomb that is shot without being done from a move will freeze. So anything like this will freeze. Now, obviously I can't shoot anything there. If I shoot that one's going to freeze. I could shoot a far one and it's going to freeze. Now, it doesn't matter even if I'm hitting them. I could do this, it's going to freeze them. I could do this, it's going to freeze them. I could do this, and it'll freeze him if he lands on it. Look at this. Freeze. Hell, I could do back 2-2, and it'll freeze. Anything I want will freeze, as long as the bomb goes out first. So as I said before, if I throw a bomb out, it'll always freeze. It'll always freeze, no matter what. Now here's the thing. The reason the bomb freezes is because I'm not canceling from any moves. There's no special move cancel, and the opponent is grounded. The times the bomb will not freeze is when an opponent is either airborne, on the ground, or I'm canceling it from a special move on hit. Those are the only times. So let's do this. Obviously that will not freeze. This will not freeze. This will not freeze. And let's make them block it. That will not freeze. That will not freeze. That will not freeze. As you see, anything that's canceled off of a special hit will not freeze. That's the reason that this does not work. Pressure them into it, it will not freeze them. So, let me show you what happens when they jump. I did that when they landed on the ground. Now watch what happens when I throw it out when they're in the air. Whoops. I'll just do it like this. It will not get frozen. I'll throw a mid-bomb. Whoop. I did that on the ground. Alright, let him jump. That will not freeze. Let's do this. They usually like staying on the ground after this. I will sweep them. Oh, no rolls. See? Now I did it when they were on the ground, so it's not going to freeze. No matter what I try to do. As long as they're recovering from something, from falling on the ground or jumping in the air, even on their own accord, it will not freeze. If I just throw this out, it'll freeze. Same thing with them duck blocking. It'll freeze all the time. All the time. So, the rules are, the bomb will freeze if you throw a bomb out and then start pressure. The bomb will also freeze if you cancel from a normal during block strings. Only in block strings. The bomb will not freeze when an opponent is airborne, even on their own accord, or if they are recovering from the ground. If you throw a bomb out while they're recovering from the ground. Also, it will not freeze if you cancel a bomb from a normal. That's the whole reason why 2-1, 1+2 into up 4 does not work. It does not refreeze them because you are special canceling from a move. So there you have it. Those are the bomb rules. In terms of when you throw bombs, it's really all about how you read your opponent. I mean, as a cyber sub player, you have to know when they're gonna freeze. You know, there I know when it's gonna freeze. I can go off of it, try to get them into more pressure, and so forth. If you know it's not gonna freeze, you have to completely change your combos. Try to make it so that you get another slide or you get the extra damage, because if you don't get it, then it'll just be a waste of time. So those are the bomb rules. Quick view. I want to go over. EX bombs. You have a couple of setups. You have a couple of options for characters that cannot advance on you. EX bomb. As we all know, this little 2-bar setup is unescapable by most characters. Other characters can escape it with well-timed jumps. If you don't, there is also the ghetto version that I do a lot. But look. It won't freeze if they try to jump, or if they make it off the ground before you do it. But oh yeah, I keep throwing out the bombs while he's now it'll freeze. Yeah, because I'm throwing out the bombs early. Remember the bomb rules. But there are also little ghetto setups like that. Let's say I throw this out, or I wait for him to jump. You know, it throws something else for them to have to avoid, and they can get hit by it. But one of the things I like to do against characters like Katana or other characters that try to stay away, like Cabal, is teleport in. Because once you teleport in, you restrict their motion, and you're safe on the ground. They shouldn't be attacking you. If they are, they're crazy, they're maniacs, and they're going to get frozen. And it's a great way to close pressure. If you're really willing to try to, let's say you're getting barraged by gas blast, you can't really dive kick. If you can pop one of these out, you can get in. You know, you can get as close as you can. I recommend it for closing pressure. Not all the time, of course, but and if you see them, if they try to jump, you get a combo as well. You know. The EX bomb should be applied. very sparingly, but they're very good out of combo. I mean, in combo you can't do them. I can do. That was an EX bomb attempt, and they don't come out. You cannot special cancel into an EX bomb. They just made it that way, I guess. They don't want anybody being cheap, I guess. You can alternate bombs, as I did before, as to make it a little harder for your opponent to read your bomb patterns. See, it just throws out whatever you haven't thrown out. So if you do a close bomb, it'll throw out the other two. If you do a far bomb, it'll throw out the first two. It depends on what type of character you're fighting. But you know, just know that you have that option. Now, I want to go over the dive kick. The dive kick is a very good move. It's really what makes Cyber Sub different from all the other characters is the fact that he has the safest dive kick out of all the characters in the game. Now, it's not necessarily unpunishable, but it is the safest out of all of them. On hit, it is +4 or +3, depending on which one you do. And it's extremely fast. Close dive kick, perfect dive kick, is 5 frames. There's no move. It's the fastest move in the game. 5 frames. Activation is 5 frames. So if you can do it, jumping up back, perfect. That's a 6-frame dive kick. Hell, it might actually even be 5 frames. Who knows? Because it's a move that's activated the second you're in the air. This is 7 frames. Far dive kick is 7 frames. Close dive kick is 5 frames. They're very good moves, but are punishable by most of the cast. Actually, by the entire cast, if done at the head. Almost every character in the game, I think with the exception of Shiva, can dash in and full combo punish him. Full combo punish him because you're at such a negative. It's not even funny. You can get full combo punished by anything faster than like 18 frames. Now, dive kick at the shin is almost unpunishable. There's very few characters can punish it, and they actually have to sacrifice meter. With the exception of Sub-Zero and Cyber Sub-Zero, they can punish each other at any spacing with a slide. Cyber Sub-Zero can punish himself with a slide. But this right here is very hard for most characters to punish. They can try to attempt to dash and grab into where you can do a 1-frame parry. If they're off by even a frame, they get parried. Now, he also has EX dive kick, which is unpunishable by almost the entire cast except for Sub-Zero and Cyber Sub-Zero, which can, of course, both slide it for some odd reason. I don't know why. If there are any other characters that can punish it, let me know. I might be leaving any out, but I have never been punished for this successfully punished for it by any character other than Sub-Zero and Cyber Sub-Zero. His EX dive kicks are great. It takes 5% chip. It's 3 hits. And the last hit of it is an overhead. See? Also, it's the same activation. This is 7 frames, and this is 5 frames. It's no different. As you can see, when you're going for a 2-on-1+2 pressure, you're at +1, you do a 5-frame move, it's 4 frames. Or if you're off by a frame, it's truly a 5-frame move. At that point, there should be no move that can beat this. No move. Now a character can try to jump, they have 1 frame to jump. This is 2 frames right here, so they can try to jump kick it and try to beat you out at a different angle, which some characters can. They can do it into an air grab or something. But if you do, let's say for instance, that type of dive kick, which Rio put up a video for it a very long time ago, you have a very good amount of advantage. It's similar to a deep jump kick, but this, let's see. I'll set the AI to jump. I'll try to hit it with a 9-frame move. Okay, I was able to hit it with a 9-frame move, so this may be, seeing as a jump straight up is 2 frames, this may be +6 or +7 on block. I know standing or crouching should be both the same because did that one pretty wrong. Okay, they can't jump the down 3, so it's at least +6. It's at the very least +6. It is good to continue pressure. On hit, it's no different from actually getting hit by that. So it's like let me check to see. It should be like +17 or so. Well, actually no, probably a lot more than that, because if you do hit somebody with this, with just the short part of the dive kick, yeah. They really won't be able to jump. Oh, whoops. Yeah, they won't be able to jump right away. I could even go up and do an up 4 and it'll hit them. So that's at least 25 frames. More than that, maybe 30, 35. Probably even more than that you have, because yeah, it has to be at least like 40 frames. You're at least +40 to hit somebody once you hit that dive kick. So on block it's good because it puts you at +6, and on hit it's good because it puts you at a ridiculous amount to go back in for pressure. You can go in and do standing 2-1 and get them back into neutral game. As far as the dive kicks, they're very good for mobility. Whiff dive kick is good. It takes a hell of a lot of dive kicks to even build a meter, so I really wouldn't. It's good to build meter here and there, but I wouldn't rely on it. If you do dive kicks correctly instead of getting error input bug, yeah, you can see you can do them very quickly. There is very little recovery. It might be at least 6 frames to recover, which is still really fast, but you know, sometimes you can get punished for it. Far dive kick goes almost all the way across screen, so that's ideal for zoners. If you can get over a projectile and make it over, then you're right in your opponent's face, which is really good. I believe that the dive kick is very good, but it should not be what you revolve your game around. Now, you can scare people with dive kicks and check them off of your strings with dive kicks. As I mentioned before, some of these strings put you in situations where you want to check them with the dive kick. What that opens up for you is the jump and punch game. Because let's say I do this and you're expecting a dive kick. Oh, hey, look, I go back into that. Or if you're a character that has to respect my dive kicks, such as Quan Chi, Shang Tsung, Shiva, it really opens up me to, you know, it opens up the fact that I can just jump in. I can jump in punch. Not too many characters have that, where you have to respect their jump in punch. Ideally, I would, if you're going to jump over somebody, I would for the most part go for a deep jumping kick. Deep jumping kicks are very underrated and people don't use them enough. These things are at least +13. At least. I'll show you. Look at this. He's going to jump. I'm going to go for a 13 frame move. He had 2 frames to jump, so I'd say, alright, +11. If I did it right. But it puts you at a very, very good position to continue pressure. And a lot of times the opponent isn't going to try to jump after that because they feel that they're jailed. So you can just go straight into pressure. You know? Let me see if they can jump that. Oh, no, they can't. Alright, I hit him with a standing 2. It's 15 frames. They can't jump that. So it is about +15. So deep jumping kick, it opens up this, you know, dive kick opens up for deep jumping kick, which is very good. Dive kick is great for escaping corner pressure. If somebody's pressuring you and they keep you over here, you can either just do a straight dive kick and get out, or you can do jump kick dive kick, which can be confirmed. Well, not really confirmed, but it's really good to do because sometimes you actually put the opponent into blocks then before doing a dive kick. But this at least guarantees, see there it hit, but this at least guarantees that you'll get, you know, a good hit on the way up and at least get out of the corner. Worst that can happen is they try to jump with you and you hit them and dive kick them too. But it's very good. It's also very good in situations like 3-3-2 slide, which is the untechable setup, you can pretty much, you know, switch pressure up, go for a dive kick into grab. That's one of my personal favorites. You can, like, let's say for instance, if you mess with a combo, man. Let's say I just do this, and that gets them out. You know, you can just you can bring them right back over towards the corner. It's not really the end of the world when you get put into the corner, because he can get out very well. He has defensive maneuvers to be able to get around. So Cybersub's mobility is very good. If you know how to control the spacing of the dive kick, because let's say for instance I want to hit mid screen, I'm just gonna go here, and that's the far dive kick. If I want to go far screen, I go there. You know, it's very good. He has amazing mobility compared to all the other characters. So, I would suggest getting familiar with dive kicks. When fighting against dive kicks, you have to respect some of the situations you get put in, or else you're going to keep eating 8%. But then again, it's only 8%, so if you want to be ballsy and go for an armor move, go ahead. But for the most part, this is very hard to beat out. Very hard to beat out. Alright, so we've gone over all the, I guess I went over some of the meta game, and his normals and specials. Now, to go on to the combos, of course. Mid-screen bread and butters. This is his 43% bread and butter, which is a 2-1 ice ball, 2-1 plus 2, dash forward, up 4, slide. He does have a version that takes an extra 2%, which is with the neutral jump punch. 45. That's much harder to do, and I really wouldn't recommend going for it. When doing the up 4 slide, you have to make sure that you do a full dash, or else you'll get this 37%, which is part of the up 4. There's 2 hits to the up 4. It's part of the up 4 that only hits for, I believe it's 7% instead of 9, but when the damage is scaled, it takes even less. Obviously, it's less when there's a 6% difference, and the move is only really, 2% difference between the two moves. But in order to avoid that, you have to make sure you get a full dash and then do the move. See, that's 32%. You're going to get less if you try to cancel it early. I didn't do it there, but... Whoops. See, it's 25% as opposed to immediate 32%. So the whole trick to it is really just doing a full dash, and just do a full dash and you'll get it. You don't have to worry about the combo. Cyber Sub-Zero has one of the fastest dashes in the game. I think he's tied for the fastest dash. But the dash nerf didn't really affect him. He still has great mobility on the ground and in the air. He has a dive kick that takes him almost full screen. He has very good dashing, and he's very good. He's very, very good. Now, for corner, is really where Cyber Sub-Zero shines. If he gets you in the corner, you're in big trouble, because he can do very good damage meterless. So everything I'm showing you is meterless. I'm not going to show you any meter combos because they're useless. This is the 50% that Pim Jim put up. It's actually 52% once you get the jumping punch, but it's very good. It's it's kind of a... If you're used to uppercut combos, then by all means go for it. I go for it all the time. But if you're not really used to uppercut combos, I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend going more with these. These are the bread and butters that take about 5% less, but are very good. This is the 47%. Oh no, this is the 48%. Sorry. That just skips the standing 4. And this is another 48%. Now this credit goes to Test Your Might for putting this up. The player Test Your Might. Using the 4-2-2-1 to do that. The only thing I don't like about that really is that it puts them out of the corner. But like I said before, you can just dive kick right back over, since the slide is untechable, and they'll be forced to stand up in front of you. I'll go over the bread and butters. I guess I didn't record them. Actually, let me see what this is. Oh, I'll show you those in a sec. I remember what that is now. But his bread and butters are very simple. Jumping punch 2-1-1, ice ball, jump punch 2-1-1 plus 2, neutral jump punch, standing 4, 3-4, 3-3 slide. That's 47%. It's 1% less than the other one, but very consistent and always keeps them in the corner. Then he has a hard knockdown setup, which is very good for ice bombs. Jump and punch 2-1 ice ball, jump and punch 2-1-1 plus 2. Oh, whoops. Let me actually do that again. I realized I did it wrong. You have to get the standing 4 a little higher. This is a 45% knockdown combo. It's a bomb. You know, it's bomb won't hit if they stay neutral, but once you start pressuring them with 3-3-4s, it'll put their hitbox into the bomb, and they'll have no choice but to try to get out. So it's a good setup. Now, he also does have a couple of bomb setups in the corner that, you know, go off for splat. So say you get a splat. Oh, I can't even do that right. I suck. Let's say you do splat. You can go for 3-3-4 and then try to salvage it with the 1-1-1. You can go for a lot of things, a lot of setups, but I'll go over that in a bit as well. This is a little bit more advanced. Since Cyber Sub relies on mix-up a lot of times, you're not always going to get a jumping punch, so you want to get the 3-3 or the 3-4. 3-3 can be converted into 2 combos, as you can see. I'll play them again. When you hit somebody with a low in the corner, he can still get good combo damage. As you can see, it's 3-3-2, down 1, 1-1-1, ice ball, 3-3 slide. It's 26% plus 2% chip, so it's 28. This one is a bit harder. It's a 3-4 instead of a 1-1-1, but it is another 3%. So instead it would be 31%, including the chip from the standing 3. I'm including that because a lot of the times you're not going to get a jump-in punch or a raw standing 3. Now, instead of doing the low, let's say for instance the opponent gets hit by the overhead. That is 33%, which is really good. Or you can go into this one, which is my swag one, but let's see that it actually hits. I don't recommend going for it, obviously, because it took too much time for me to do it. Yeah, that's 29%. It's kind of swaggy. It's a little, to be honest with you, it is easier to do than that other low combo, but you would have to hit them with a low to do it, you know, to compare. But either way, he has good damage. He has 31%, either getting hit low or high from a mix-up. I'm counting 2% chip in this. Now, Cyber Sub's corner game, on top of damage, is very good because he has a lot of bomb setups in the corner that work for him. Let's say, for instance, you land a 3-4, 3-4, right? You can do down 4 ice ball, which actually, for some reason, down 4s in this game have a massive amount of stun on the ground. I mean, if they try to tech roll, then you got yourself a little mix-up as well. Whoops. Oh, come on, Josh. See, I keep throwing bombs because I'm going for dash forward, but I don't have to dash forward. Oops. But you see what I mean. You get another corner set up into bomb. They don't get hit by the bomb. You get another combo, and you go back into it. So it's, you know, you just ate like 60%. You might not have noticed it, but for trying to get away from a bomb. 3-4 in the corner is good. So is 3-3, of course. You know, they're both very good, but they're not abusable. Opponents can jump out if you really keep trying to use them. If I do this, let's say I block, he blocks it, and then whoops, I try to do it again. you can jump it. You can jump it very easily. So the whole mix-up comes from, you know, reading your opponent, trying to get them to try to panic and get out. Most of the times, people do panic and try to get out of the corner against Cyber Sub. You don't want to be in the corner against Cyber Sub because he deals massive damage with no meter at all. As you noticed, everything I show you is with no meter, and that's because meter is precious to Cyber Sub. He needs meter. That's the only time where a move like this is good. Credits to Test Your Mind for the meter building. You know, ice bombs and EX dive kicks. Now, ice bombs are the same property, no matter what. You know, even if they're EX or regular, it'll be the same thing. You can mix any two EX moves and the bombs will freeze. It'll refreeze, which actually breaks the rules of the game somehow. But time for deep kick combos. He really doesn't have many. It's a very simple one. Deep jumping kick, back 2-2, slide, or deep jumping kick, back 2-2 into ice ball, you know. It sets them up for a good position as to where they can't punish your dive kick even if blocked because of the ice bomb. Or if you really want to set it up, you can just do a dive kick close enough to that to try to, you know, close the gap, make them, push them back a bit, and, you know, extend your pressure. Test Your Might, the Sub-Zero player, a Cyber Sub-Zero player, actually recommended this as well. It's actually really good. Deep jumping kick. Oh, it's like when getting towards the corner. Deep jumping kick, back 2-2, ice bomb into that. That's 26%. That's pretty good. That's probably the highest damage you're going to get from mid to corner. But corner, you can get that. It's 34%. It's very good. Or this, which is 31, but they're all fairly well, you know, they're all really good. He does have corner carry. Let's say if you do land a hit and you want to get them as close to the corner as possible, to get those situations, you can do this. You don't have to do the slide after it, but you get them to the corner really fast. Like this gets them. This combo gets them all the way to the corner. Right here is where you want to be, so you can do some dive kicks. Close the gap very well. They can't really advance too long. If they try to advance, you go in. Right here, right in their face. Cyber Sub-Zero also has very good anti-airs, but just not very good anti-air combos. Of course, this is a flawless anti-air. There is nothing that beats this from the air. Nothing. Unless it's a projectile, nothing's beating this. And the great thing about it is that since it's so instant, if a character is jumping over you to try to cross you up, you can just do down forward in the other direction and you'll still get it. It's one frame. So they have to be very careful when jumping in on you. Let me just set him to jump so I can show you. He has a very good standing one. I mean, it's 9 frames. It has good reach. I can pretty much hit him from like right here. See, if you get him, you can do a combo like that. It's 18%, or you can do a much better combo. Well, not much better. That's 20%. There's I believe this one right here. Yeah, into slide. You're never going to hit them that deep, so honestly, this is the most practical he's going to get. Alright, as far as anti-airs, he doesn't really have anything outstanding other than parry. Parry's 1 frame, so even if they're jumping over to the other side, on the very last frame of their attack, you can instant parry them and knock them the hell down, or get full combo, you know, and get one of these. Standing 1 is a good anti-air. That slide is kind of inconsistent off of that, so I would always just recommend going for the simple one. Standing 1 ice ball, 2-2-1 slide. You can go for this as well. It's 19%. But that 2-on-1 plus 2 isn't that good, because from certain distances it won't hit. But if you want to go for it, I think it's good. I'd go for the 8%, the one ice ball, because that just does very good damage. Well, very consistent damage. In the air, let's say you get a jumping punch, standing 1-1, ice ball, you can go into another bomb setup after that. Of course, you can always do more damage, but I go for that just to get that. But also, if you land a neutral jump punch, it's another one. Got to jump out of that, you get them to whatever combo you want. He has very good options, whether jumping in the air or jumping straight up or whatever it may be. He has options on the ground and in the air. 18% is probably the lowest you'll see any bread and butter combo hit, but he ranges all the way up to 52% without any meter. So overall, he's a very good damaging character, both in the corner and mid-screen. Okay, so now I want to go over his punishes. Sub-Zero's main punishes should always be standing 2 or up 4 as a roll punish for whenever somebody hits you and they roll in the air, or if they slide and they get blocked and they're there for a long period of time. Up 4 should always be the main thing you go for. Standing 2, you can do it if you're not really too comfortable with the timing for most characters, because you're afraid that you might hit them. Plus, you know, the up 4 will whiff if they're in a ducking state when they come out of it, unless you wait for the good, for the perfect time. So standing 2 is much easier to do. Let's see if I can get this. Yeah. See, we can just go into the reset from there. No, you get like a good 32%, 33%. But you can really maximize damage with an up 4. Let's see if this decides to do it. 17%. Wow. 17% plus 32, you get a 49% punish. Wow, my math sucks. You get a 49% punish that happens very swiftly and can put you back into another situation if you like, instead of going for 49. Let's see if it'll do it once again. Yeah. You can just do that instead and then start trying to pressure. But like I said, instead of trying to punish with a bread and butter standing 2, really just get used to the up 4 timing. This is the best punish tool he has in terms of really elongated recoveries. I'll show you pretty much all the examples that you can punish, but for the most part, the up 4 should be your main punishing tool, and standing 2 if you don't really have the timing down. Either way, it's better than going for bread and butters, because you get meter and you take a great amount of damage off of them. So. Lastly, I want to go over the X-Ray. X-Ray armor is instant when you press it in the air, and it goes throughout the entire thing. You don't want to just randomly do this because on block it's full combo punishable. It's the only X-ray like this that's really, really, really bad. That on block, you know, obviously Jackson Kano have to grab you, but on block, this gets blown up. He has some pretty good damaging combos mid-screen with it. This is my favorite. It's just a raw X-ray right after that. That should be around 52 or 54%. Yeah, 52%. He doesn't really have anything too crazy mid-screen. In the corner, he has a setup. You know, the simplest one. That's the jump punch, standing forward, jump kick, X-ray. I mean, that's good. You don't really need much more than that, but it's not as high as damaging X-ray combo, but it's still very good. It's 55%. There you go. That's 56. But you just go for whatever fits you best. Yeah, it's 56. His X-ray has some weird properties. You can switch sides depending on how you hit them. Let's say if I hit them right here, stays on the same side, right? This X-ray can switch sides depending on how you hit them. If I want to be in the corner, I just do it a little higher and go right into the corner. But then again, why would I want to do that? It'll flip them out. Also, one thing I want to show is that off of an X-ray, you can OTG. There's two things you can do. You can either slide if the person isn't blocking. Whoops. That wasn't how it's supposed to go. You can either slide if the person isn't blocking. A lot of the times, people don't really expect the slide coming right after it. And it hits. That's an extra 12%. Well, if that is 12%. But anyway, I'm like the worst cyber sub host ever. Or you can do if they do block. You could do down 3. You can do dash up down 3. It's kind of hard for me to do it like this, but let me show you. I don't want to go back into the options. I've been into it way too much. And it stands them up. You can go for a throw. You can go for whatever it is that you like. But if they're blocking, then you definitely don't want to do slide because you're going to get blown up. Remember, it's minus 49 frames. So, you don't want to eat that. Aside from that, his X-ray is good. I would mainly use it once you have loaded X-ray. I'd mainly use it to be able to jump safely, because the second somebody tries to air you, bam, just hit them with that and they're gonna get hit. Or if you want to go for it, if you feel you're gonna get counter poked off of it, you know, after that, somebody who has a really fast down one or something like that, you can go into an X-ray and you can hit them. It's very gimmicky. It's very, very gimmicky. There are setups that I've put videos up for before. Me and Guamukun, we have a lot of it. It's all escapable, but there's a lot you can do with it. Now, last thing I want to go over, this very, very last thing, is very important. It's his up 4 bomb cancel. Up 4 bomb cancel is one of the best ways to end his combos, because it sets up for situation. I can either, I can either go for that, which I didn't do right, but I can either jump in, continue. This is my old little trap for people that like to take hits. Or let's say, for instance, let's say they don't roll, whatever, and let's say they want to block. Everyone wants to block. No one wants to lose health. still works the same way. Or you can go for that. There's a lot of stuff you can do off of the bomb. Since the bomb isn't going to freeze, you have to remember that. You have to remember that you have to do your best to combo off of the fact that it won't freeze. You know, if you expect it, if you expect somebody to jump away from it, or you know, that jumping out of that jumping punch setup doesn't really work. It only really works when you just mistime it. That's really it. To the frame, they cannot jump it. All they can do is really lay low, roll away, or something of the sort. But if you want to keep mixing it up, you have a lot of options. Off of the up 4, I'll go over exactly what I just did. You have the option of either jumping over and continuing it. You could just do another up 4. Or you can stay on the same side, pressure. You can do a slide off of that. You know, if you're not really scared of wake-up attacks, just go for it. That's a setup that keeps them there. Shout out to Touch Your Might once again for that's his little setup. Deep jumping kicks. You can just go for whatever the hell you want. That's when you just get really ballsy. I mean, there's also this. If you have meter to do it, it's my favorite setup. The bomb hits them up and you get hit into it. It's my own little shameless plug for that. But yeah, it's really good. The up 4 bomb, it should be the way that you end all your combos, unless you're going for damage, or if you're playing a character like Sub-Zero who just has a way out of everything that you freaking do. But yeah, for the most part, that's it. I mean, Cyber Sub all around is a very heavy hitter. He relies a lot on his meter. It's always good to have this. I mean, he could fight without it easily, but it's way better to have it than it is to not. It adds to his pressure game. It adds to the whole, well, yeah, you know, real little setup. Bunch of bombs on the floor. Everybody wants to jump. And it just adds to him. I mean, without meter, he has no good projectiles. He has a bomb that can be easily avoided unless being pressured into. And that, I mean, that's it. I mean, the teleport isn't even saved by the meter. There's nothing can save this. You could still hit it on the other side. It's still not safe. But and slide, there's really no point in using that unless you want to get them back into the corner from a combo. But his EX dive kick, his EX bombs, and his EX ice are very good. EX parry as well. Those are his really good tools that he has to pull out once in a blue, and those have to be good reads. He's relies heavily on mobility, and characters that can limit his mobility are characters that give him problems. So when using Cyber Sub or when fighting Cyber Sub, remember that nothing is guaranteed, and it's all about how well you know your opponent or your opponent knows you. So if picking up Cyber Sub, which I don't see why anyone would, for tournament, even though he is good in certain matchups, he just get used to a whole lot of guessing. Everything is guessing. The more you have in your arsenal to make someone guess, the better. If you can constantly keep someone on their toes, then you should be playing Cyber Sub. So that is all.